What if a child commits a serious crime? Should they be treated like an adult? By the end of this video, the goal is to give you a fresh perspective. What something that might make you say, I didn't think about it that way, or um, I never thought about it that way. To change your assumptions about justice, accountability, and the future of our children and our communities. And to do that today, I got my brother Speak Rock, who I feel is, man, I just love having him on the podcast. I appreciate his perspective. Doesn't have to be exactly as mine. That's why it's great to have other people on your podcast to get a fresh perspective from another person. So today, that's what we're gonna do. We got one clip that my brother Speak Rock brought to me, and that I thought um, really highlights the overall topic of the podcast. But I always got something special. We got another one too that's really in the news that people are talking about. So I couldn't let it go. So first of all, I want to welcome my guest, my brother Speak Rock, back to the Raising Carter podcast. How you doing, brother?
Yo, what up, though, man? Hey, I'm doing well. Hey, thank you for having me, and I look forward to chopping it up with you.
Oh man, this is a good one. Like I said in the beginning, what what should we do when a teenager, not an adult yet, commits a serious crime? So I got a video that my brother Speak Rock sent to me that I seen, and I guess we was on the same vibe. So let's check out this video, and we're gonna give our commentary about it. And hopefully down in the comments on the audio or the YouTube podcast, you can leave your comments too about this. So check this out.
This is the moment a 16-year-old broke down in court after being denied bond for the murder of another teen. 16-year-old Sean Simpson is being charged under a new law that allows 16 and 17-year-olds to be charged as adults. He is accused of fatally shooting 16-year-old Zaquavius Dawkins, who was running errands for his mother, when he was shot 3 times in the back on North Chester Street. Simpson also tried to kill the victim's friend, who was injured during the attack. The victim's grandmother said she knows Simpson and that he had harassed and threatened her grandson in school before. Family members said the 2 teens met at Ashbrook High School, where Zaquavius Dawkins played on the football team. Simpson was arrested and charged when police linked him to the crime. In court, he broke down when he found out he was being denied bond and being charged as an adult. This is believed to be one of the first cases locally under the new law. Simpson has a court date set for February 18, 2025, but that date could be affected if a grand jury indicts him on the charges. Do you think children should be charged as adults if they are found guilty of a serious crime? Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments.
Yeah, there we go. That's a brief layout. I'm sure it's a lot more that goes on with that, but do you think a child, a teenager who commits murder and attempted murder should be charged as an adult? I'm gonna hand it over to you, Speak Rock, because you first, let me know about this. So what do you think? Do you think this young man, first of all, should be charged as an adult?
Well, let me put it like this. Let me kind of set the stage, because as always with you and your son, y'all always got your finger on the pulse in reference to father-son dynamic.
Right.
I was, looking at some of your content over the weekend, and I mean, you and your son was just killing it. Y'all was going over financial literacy. Y'all had a video. It was a great video. Then you made another video talking about Deion Sanders and his son, and how the NFL is treating his son. And
Yes,
it was just great content, because you was talking about the nature of how a father should teach his son and pass down wisdom and knowledge. So when I saw this clip of this young man in North Carolina that was in court, the first person I thought of was you, based on what you're doing, how you're trying to highlight and educate. So now that we got that backstory out of the way, let me go ahead and answer your question. Do I believe young people, teenagers,
Mhm.
should be treated like adults? Now I know that's the title of what we're talking about today. Do I
Right.
think they should be treated like adults? No. Now the answer, the answer to your question was, should they be tried like adults? I gotta say yes. I gotta say yes, and here's why.
Right.
Now, again, I said no, they shouldn't be treated like adults. I don't think
Right.
they should. A child should
No.
be treated like a child.
Right. Yeah.
But
Because
when a
that's what they
child
are.
steps out, that's what they are. But if a child steps out into egregious adult behavior, vicious, violent adult behavior, okay, how else do you deal with that?
Amen, brother.
Especially in this scenario when there's a family that's missing a child from their family because of murder.
Right.
How do you deal with that? How do you squelch that? How do you solve that? It
Right.
seems like to me that the state of North Carolina, because mind you, let me give a little history on this. North Carolina, and we can research this and correct me if I'm wrong. In the month of December of 2024, they just passed a law to say for felonies, certain felonies that teenagers, commit,
Mhm.
they can be tried as an adult. And that law went to effect in the beginning of 2025. So this is going to be the first teenager
Right. Oh,
in the state
wow.
of North Carolina that is being tried as an adult for a felony charge. So
Yes.
look, state of North Carolina said, look, we've having enough of this. It's getting out of hand. We got to
Yeah.
do something about it. And I gotta be honest, I'm just gonna stand 10 toes down. I'm with it.
Hey, I second the emotion. I second what you saying because watching this, watching the video and different clips about this situation, you kill this one. You kill another boy, shoot him in the back 3 times. You shoot him in the back 3 times, and then you attempt to kill his friend. Like Speak Rock said, egregious. And to have the, I don't know, to have the 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 gall, or to have the notion that you were supposed to get bail, that you were going to be let out of jail. Nah, man. What they say, if you can't do the crime, don't if you can't do the time, don't do the crime. If you not ready to spend the rest of your life in jail, don't go out and murder someone, young man, or other young men. If you about that life, if you think you that gangster, if the situation, you feel cause for that, then just know when they come to get you, say goodbye to everybody, because you will not be going back home. Just straight like that. You're not going home, and you don't deserve to go home. But to crash out and to lose your whole life, I want to know what this is all about. What is it all of? Like, I would love to know what really brung this about. Because the grandmother or the mother said they've been getting into it. Dog, you gonna shoot him in the back? Like, really? But I was thinking about this, and I want you to, chime in on this. Do we not know what cause and effect means anymore? Do we not know if you do something, it's going to be a negative or a positive effect from whatever you choose to do? But it's going to be, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen. If you get up and go to work, you're going to get paid for the day. If you don't get up and go to work, you're not gonna get paid for that day unless you got some vacation time or something. But if you commit murder, you're going to jail. Do we not know that anymore? Because it just seems like young men, we don't understand that. We don't, it's like we don't get it. Like, man, I had a problem with him, man. Hey, man, I'm gonna go handle it. But now you sitting up in court crying. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. What do you think about that? Do we not understand? Are we not teaching these young people that if you whatever you do, something is gonna come from that?
Well, that's a very good question. And I have a very direct answer. I have a very specific answer. Now, I could cover the whole gambit and I could cover the rainbow of all cultures and races on this planet, but I'm going to be specific to the African American culture.
Yeah.
No, we don't get it. And I'm going to tell you why. In a lot of ways, we as Black people, we are suffering from symbolism. We are suffering from popularity. We are being the detriment to our people. And I'm gonna get specific when I say this. This is why every time I come on your platform, I commend you about the work that you're doing and the content that you make, because it's deliberate, specific content, because you see issues and you address them directly, be it financially, be holistically, in reference to how we can be better. There are other platforms and there are other content creators that they enable young Black people. And I'm gonna get a little bit more specific. And I don't think I have to get so petty where I gotta call names.
No.
Hey, no, I'm just saying I ain't gonna call no names right now unless they come at me. But because we could go there. I see some platforms. What happens is they take this level of behavior, gang behavior, twin, Pooh Shiesty mask, you name it. They take these young artists, mostly hip hop artists, and they encourage this behavior while still trying to pass along a realistic, motivational, inspirational message in the code of the streets. Let me explain to you something about young people. Young people are not fooled, because if you, in one instance, is talking about the Glock you got that got a switch on it and how you gonna ride and you gonna slide on some dudes, but the next moment you talking about how you gonna get the bag, how you gonna secure a future for yourself, how you're going to inspire you in the streets. Those young people didn't hear nothing other than the bag and the switch.
Yep. So what they wanted to hear. Yeah. They heard what they wanted. They heard what they wanted to hear. You know, like, so yeah, not, but continue, please continue.
You're absolutely right. They heard what they wanted to hear. And we, especially if and let's be clear, one thing I cannot stand, and I'm willing to put money on it, that young man in that classroom, he probably, well, in that courtroom, excuse me, he probably walked around and classified himself as a YN. I cannot stand that lingo. Yeah. Have you ever heard that language?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I can't stand it. Yeah. So, but we as elders, supposedly, we're walking around, running around, acting like old YNs. And we're encouraging this behavior. So to answer your question, that young man, he didn't understand cause and effect, because he's been taught wrong.
Yeah.
He didn't understand that every action has an equal reaction. He didn't understand that, because you know what he thinks? He looks at all the podcaster, all the hip hop artists, and any other adult that's showing themselves that I can do whatever and I can get away with it.
Yep.
So I'm gonna be honest. That young man, look, I understand accountability, but look, there has to be accountability on both sides. That young man was set up to fail. He
Yeah.
was set up to fail.
Yeah.
Everything that he digested in reference to music, culture, videos, you name it, he assumed all of that, and he tried to live out a persona that he wasn't built for. And that courtroom clip was evident that he ain't built for this life. Because he broke down and started calling for mama.
Yeah. Yeah. He was not built for it. You're 100% right. And like you said, he was thoroughly let down, because if this is the path you want to go, then someone should have told him this is what's going to happen. This is the path. I'm gonna be I'm gonna keep it real with you. Back in the day, when I wanted to be a hustler. I wanted to hustle. I wanted to get in the streets. And I met up with one of my old partners I went to school with, and I seen he was hustling. I'm like, man, working this job, man, I ain't getting no money. I need some bread, man. You know what I mean? He like, well, I'll tell you what it is. This what we doing. Every one of these can get you 10 years. Every one of these pieces of rock can get you 10 years. Looking at him. He was like, now, yeah, we get into the money. He was like, but if you want to be involved with this, every piece right here get you 10 years, and ain't no snitching. Ain't no snitching. So you want to be down, you want to get to the money? Yeah, I'll put you on, but that's what it is. That's what it is. Now you make your choice, what you want to do. I thought about it. I didn't want to do it. I couldn't do it. I had my older son. I was a single father. I was taking care of him. I couldn't do it. But he laid it out to me. He gave me the game. Hey, this is what it is. Yeah, you see me. We going to the club. I got a pocket full of money. But this is what's real. This if you get caught, this is what's gonna happen to you. I don't know if no one told him that or if he wasn't listening, but like you said, when you get to court and that judge tell you there is no bail, this is what you're looking at. This is the sentence you're looking at. Your lawyer tells you this is that's what it is. And I don't think enough people, right or wrong, whether you're doing something right or you doing something wrong, people are telling people, we're not lacing these young men with game, whether it's positive or negative, and it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate, but it's not, it's not sweet out here, man. And I think, I think that's what I try to do with this podcast. We got to start, man. We got to start telling people the real, the real is if like I said, if you I was talking to somebody someday and it was like, oh, everybody deserves a second chance. And brother, you just don't understand. I don't know. I might've said this before. And I told him, I said, you don't understand. Everybody deserves a second chance. But in this world, the real world, you might not get one. This little boy, he ain't going to get one. He's not going to get one. When he going to get one, Speak Rock? When he 40, 50 years old, and they turn him down for parole again?
No, you bring up such a great point. You bring up a illuminating point, because I this came across my mind, and I'll be remiss if I say this, because I can see forgive me as I say this, but I can see the frustration and the pain in your face. I see it. You're like this, this bothers you. You know what? As it should. It bothers me. As a matter of fact, it angers me. And I'm going to tell you why. We all know that the judicial system has not been the fairest to Black people.
No.
This is historically true.
Yep.
Here's the problem, and this is why it angers us. Like you said everybody's entitled to a second chance. Hey, I'll go further. You're entitled to a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th chance.
Right.
You are. You should get that. But the truth of the matter is what you said. In this United States of America, with the law that North Carolina just passed down,
right,
you're not guaranteed to get a second, third, fourth, fifth chance. You know what you're guaranteed to get? You're guaranteed to get a sentence. Yep. You're guaranteed to be sent to a prison. You're guaranteed to be used as slave labor to make some cheap products in the prison industrial complex. That's what you're guaranteed to get.
That's what you guaranteed to get.
That's what you're guaranteed to get. And just like that gentleman, the hustler, who was probably going to have you hustle for him, I got a similar story. I got a very similar story. But what I like about in that story that you said, I'm assuming that this gentleman, he was a little bit older. And
about the same age, we're around the same age, but he was, that he was in that life. I wasn't in that life. I just saw, you see it and you think that's what you want to do. But he broke it down to me because he was a friend of mine, and he was like, you coming over here, you saying, you saying you want to do this. This is what it is, dog. I can't save you from nothing else. I'm doing the best I can for you by telling you what's the real. You know what I mean? And I appreciate it. I gotta show him love for that, man. Because
that's beautiful because he didn't have to do it.
He didn't have to do that.
He cared enough for you where he had to give you the unadulterated truth about this life.
Yep.
Hey, this is the reward of it. Hey, you can be fly, you can make money. Yep. I get it. Take care of your family. I get it. However, on the other side of that coin is police harassment, jail, somebody trying to kill you, the whole nine. Somebody trying to rob you, all of that. So this is what comes with all of that. And all I'm saying is, and what you're saying is, our young people are being treated as adults by the state, by the government. And we're failing them by not giving them the honest truth about a certain lifestyle. We're failing them. And that's why it ties in so beautifully with the content that you've been making over this week. Because when you made the Deion Sanders one, I'm like, come on, man. I think you saw my comment. I was like, that's the secret sauce.
Yeah. I agree.
Teach your young people what you know already.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to teach it to them. And I'm going to say this one last thing, and I want to hear what you got to say, because especially it brightened my heart when you had your little man and you had him answering the financial questions. When I see Deion speak about his children, he speaks about them in such a way that Deion is unapologetic of basically saying, I've created, as people like to say today, I created some mini-me's. Like when you hear his sons talk, they talk in a vein just like their father.
Yeah.
And they're not, they're unapologetic for it.
Right.
So let me ask you a question. What is your motivation? When we look at this, when we look at this young man who just went to court, what is your motivation when you take your son and you're teaching them about anything?
That's a great question. My motivation, Speak Rock, is that I honestly want Carter and my older son, I want them to be equipped with the knowledge that I didn't have. I want them to do better than me. I want them to be better than me. That's my motivation. I feel like I'm a pretty good guy, but I want to make better men. That's what I want. I want to make better men, and I think that's why uh, I started doing the financial stuff, because man, you can really get yourself in a hole not knowing about money, not understanding about debt. And nowadays, you know, I mean, you not nothing if you don't got money. That's the way people want to act, treat you and act. So it's like, but really back to the I really that's my motivation. That's what and another thing, and this man, if you get this far in the video, because a lot of people we our attention spans are short. We can't watch nothing. But you as a father, you gotta be there for your son when nobody else is. When other people don't understand him, when other people can't stand him, when other people want to do away with him, when other people stop believing in him, you gotta be there. You've got to be there. And I think that's another thing I want to make men understand, that, you know, having a mother is great. We all love our mothers, hopefully. I love my mother. I love my wife, but there's nothing like the 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 bond between a father and a son or a daughter. You've gotta be there for them when nobody else is. Because if you're not, I think we talked about this before. There are outside forces that will be there for them, and they don't have any good intentions for them. They don't have any good intentions for them. Just like this young man right here that we just watched this video. Where's his daddy? Probably
Ooh.
nowhere in sight. Where's his daddy? Probably nowhere in sight. You can't tell me, if you are his father, this is what you wanted for him. You cannot tell me. I almost said the N word. You cannot tell me that this is what you wanted for your son. No father wants this. No father wants.
Can I
No father.
can I broaden it a little? Can I broaden it a little
Go ahead. Go ahead.
more? Because you said where is his father? Where is his daddy?
Yeah.
I would be bold enough to say this. Where is the teacher, the male
Yeah.
teacher?
Yeah. Where is it?
Where is the male Sunday school teacher? Where is the male youth pastor? Where's the male pastor? Where is the male community leader?
Anybody.
Where I guess what I'm saying is that young man had contact
Right.
with somebody. Some male, he's of school age.
16.
He sees men. My
Yeah.
question would be, I get it. Dad might not be around. I get it. But there has to be some men around. Now, that would lead me to this. I want to throw this on the table because I know you said you had something else for us, but I want to throw this on the table before we get to that. You and I both said we concur that we believe that young adults who commit felony crimes should be tried as adults. You and I agreed on that.
Right.
What I would want to put on the table to ask both of us, do we think that's the answer, though? Is that the long-term answer?
I don't. I think I don't think that's the answer. But
I'm
what it
with you.
take,
I don't think that's the answer either.
I don't think I know that's not the answer. But what it's gonna take is men like you and me in these young men's lives from the beginning. That's what it's gonna take. We we think everybody's gonna come to save us, the government, this person, some leader or somebody's gonna come. No, you gotta take care of your responsibilities. I'm talking about grown ass men. Your ass need to take care of your sons. That's how you stop this. That's how you stop this and stop trying to be their friends. You said it. There's probably he's seen men all the time, and it was probably men that was like, "Oh, shorty, man, you are. I see you out here, man. You wilding, man. You out here." Instead of somebody saying, "Man, you on some dumb shit. You ain't no real nigga. You ain't. You think you are, but you not, dog." But they didn't do that. They didn't do that. They let them just. How you 16 and you get a gun? Where you get the gun from? You know what I mean? Where you know what I'm saying? Somebody gave them that. Or somebody, through somebody, some adult at some point had that gun and gave that to somebody that gave it to him or that gave it to the next person and he got it somehow. So we have to, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that. Grown men, we don't want to do that. We want to be running out in the streets. We like them chasing women and we don't want to do none of that. We don't want to do that. We don't even want to listen to podcasts like this, Big Rock. We want to listen to some mess.
Yeah.
We want to listen to some mess.
Let me add this to what you're saying because you're so absolutely correct. Like you can watch content of if anybody beefing,
right?
That content is gonna get crazy views.
Crazy views.
But I was watching a video, and I commend this video, and I didn't want to be Mr. Know-It-All. I wanted to make a comment on the video, but I didn't want to come off. I didn't want it to be mistaken like I was trying to be a know-it-all. Mm-hmm. So I held what I had to say. I hate that I have to do that, but in these internet streets, people get sensitive. They don't know you, so they just take it any kind of way.
I feel you.
I saw a podcast. He had like I want to say he had a plumber on his podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And or it could have been an HVAC person or whatever. I don't know. It was something in the trade skills. Electrician, plumber, HVAC, whatever. So the guy was saying like, hey, I've been a plumber for so long. I make X amount of money doing X, Y, Z. Right. And I was like, man, what would make this podcast even better is some instruction. So I like where you're going. Like you need some real people who gonna say, hey, look, dude, you ain't about this life. You need to cut it out. You ain't built like this. I like that. But I think in addition to that has to be some instruction. And what do I mean? So if you're a plumber, if you're an electrician, if you're an HVAC, repair system, whatever, if you're a carpenter, I think what we need to do is lay down details. Hey, here go a number of schools within our city, within our town, within the state that you can attend to become a plumber, to become an electrician. This is how long it takes. These are the certifications you would get. This, give me some instructions. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because young people here, put it like this, the direct approach, like, look, young boy, you ain't built like this. Only so many young people can take that.
Yeah.
The rest of them, they're not hearing it. They're going to get turned off and they're going to run away. soon as you
Right.
aggress them in that way. Some young people need to be talked to in such a way that they're being led by the numbers. They need instruction. They need
Right.
you to show them
You can
how to
make this
do it.
yeah, you can make this much money doing this yeah, exactly. I agree.
Right.
But
So the thing is, tell me, where did you, I understand you're a plumber, but where did you go to school? Where are
right,
the other schools at so I can apply?
right,
What
right,
do I need to apply? See, so I think a lot of times we got to stop with only showing an example only goes so far.
right,
But
right.
if you how does the old adage say? You know, you can feed a man, but if you teach him how to fish, he'll eat forever, right?
Right, exactly.
I think we got to start doing a little bit more of that.
Yeah, I agree. We got to start doing more of that. But I'm gonna play devil's advocate for a second.
Okay.
The problem with that is, and I see it all the time, is so many people. The problem, the reason why people wanna, the reason why people want to be a YouTuber, or they want these jobs because they think it's easy. They think it's easy money. The reason why a lot of people wanted to sell drugs back in the day or whatever, like my man told me, it ain't sweet like that. You know what I mean? It's not sweet like that. A lot of people want to do things because they think it's easy. So taking a job, being a plumber, being an electrician, or being like this and that, they'll say, oh yeah, I want to do that. Yeah, I want to do that. But then when they find out that it's work involved, they don't want to do it no more. They don't want to do no. They don't want to do it no more. So if that's not you, young man, young lady, you can be so much more successful than so many people, because so many people don't want to do nothing. They just want to do the bare minimum. They don't want to do anything extra. So the problem with that, like I was saying, is that I don't know if it's possible, but it's just so many people who don't want to do anything extra. And that's what turns off a lot of people from like reaching out. But you can't be that way. You can't be that way. You can't be that way. I know a lot of people are lazy. A lot of people just don't want to do nothing. But like Speak Rock is saying, there's a lot of kids and there's a lot of young people, or even people that are, middle age and older, that want to do something else and don't know where to go to do it. So if you do know how to do something, man, still don't, because I do talk to people, and you hear it all the time. People like, oh man, these people lazy. They don't want to do nothing. It's a waste of my time. This, that, and in the third. But if you do have a skill and ability, and you are willing to teach somebody something, man, go ahead and do it. Man, it's another video that I had. I'm just gonna just real quick on this subject, just real quick. Then we're gonna get to this other video, because this is deep too, and a lot of people talking about this. But there was a truck driver, and he was going to a truck driving school, Speak Rock, and they booted him out. They kicked him out, and the reason why they kicked him out is because they told everybody, morning time, 7 a.m., be down in the lobby to go. You ready to go? I guess they go to the location. They, be down in the hotel lobby, ready to go to the location so we can, go to the school with the trucks and everything. He overslept. They called him. They ended up calling him in his room, and then they sent somebody to come down to get him. I guess they sent him, he went talk to the guy who's running the company. He's like, gotta let you go. You can't, he's like, when we tell somebody to tell people to be down in the lobby ready to go, You got to be ready to go. And he was giving this, he said, I understand, man, but he was like, all these excuses, he was like, I messed up. What did I say back then? Just a few minutes ago. You don't get a second chance all the time, dog.
Right.
You don't get a second chance. So you thinking, oh, I got a couple more minutes, I can sleep over, I can do this and that. You blew your opportunity. And they might have, and I thought about this, they might have let him go just because they know that we can't get all these people jobs. So everybody who messes up, you're out of there. You just gave us an excuse to get rid of you. But you can't give people an excuse to get rid of you. That's all I'm trying to say. Don't give people an excuse to do away with you. And this young boy gave North Carolina, like Speak Rock said, the excuse to make him a slave. I'm gonna say it again, to make him a slave. That's what he did. That's what he did. He gave them the excuse to make him a slave. And that's what he gonna be. That's what he gonna be. That's what he gonna be. But I want to show, you might have seen this because this has been real popular, but I want to talk about this too. I want us to spend a few minutes on this video right here.
11 a.m. at Slappy's Car Wash in Forest. Police
Here
say
we-
24-year-old Adonis Robinson and 21-year-old Jacoby Russell shot and killed a local rapper known as Lil Ronnie and his 5-year-old daughter on Monday. It happened just before 11 a.m. at Slappy's Car Wash in Forest Hill.
It was a shocking event from North Texas.
Police Chief David Hernandez says investigators are still working to figure out a motive, but they believe this was a targeted crime. According to police, Robinson is a registered sex offender who was released from prison last August. Russell has previously been convicted of 3 separate charges, including assault of a pregnant person.
I want to reaffirm to the community that we will hold criminals accountable. We're not going to allow them to come in here and think that they can get away with it.
Why would you target him? His name is Lil Ronnie. Why would you target him? He didn't bother nobody. And a baby, his baby, a baby? Come on, forward, what y'all gonna do?
Police say they've identified one suspect who they're not naming and have issued a warrant for capital murder. Investigators tell NBC5 Forest Hill didn't have a single murder all of last year. After today's incident, they're up to 5 homicides in 2025. As the family mourns the victims of this attack, neighbors say the recent rise in gun violence has them on edge.
So, man, that's the breakdown. He was a well-known rapper from the Fort Worth, Texas area. His name was Little Ronnie. He was at a car wash, getting his car wash or clean his car out. 2 guys that he was obviously had issues with came up, start shooting at him. I hope they didn't know his daughter was in the car, but she was killed, and he tried to run and get away. They shot him, and then from what I hear, they went and finished him off. They just didn't. They stood over him and shot him again. And yeah, this is but I wanted to talk about this because these young men who did this, they're not children. They're grown men. So I believe as of this podcast that we're doing, both of them have been found. They've been apprehended. They're in custody. But I was watching a podcast, the Say Cheese podcast, and they were talking to Charleston White, and this is in that area. He knows all these. Charleston White knows these 2 men who did this. He knows the young man who got shot, and he made a great point. He said that, yes, obviously this is wrong. This is dead wrong. You dead wrong. But he made this point, and I agree. Everybody says that Lil Ronnie, well, he wasn't about that mess. He was a gambler. He was a well-known gambler. But the dudes he ran with was in the streets and had beef with the two guys, the crew, and the two guys that killed him. The guys he ran with were beefing. They've been going back for years. So it doesn't matter that you weren't about that. You ran with the wrong crowd. Nobody cares that, oh, well, he ain't about that. So what? You chose to run with this group of dudes. The other side don't care. They don't care. They don't give a damn. Nobody's gonna say, oh, he ain't really, even though he run with them, we not gonna mess with them. Man, they don't care about that. You see, they killed him in front, they killed him and his daughter. So the smart thing to do is, yo, we cool, but I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't, because you want to blame, obvious the blame goes to the dudes who did the shooting. But does he have blame for the company that he kept, for the dudes he ran with, for the circle and the environment that he was in that led to his daughter being shot? That's why I told you that story before about me trying to be in the streets. I was a single father. Just what happened to him could have happened to me. Could have happened to me and my son for trying to be in the streets. Man, the streets, it don't care about nobody, man. It don't care about nobody. So I want to know your take on that. Yes, what those guys did was they're going to get theirs. But us as fathers, us as men, once you have children, you can't just be thinking about yourself. You can't, you know what I mean? You can't just think about yourself and I'm going to still do what I used to do. I'm going to still do what I always did. That'll get you in some mess like this.
No, look, man, you're making a great point. You've highlighted some very important factors about why we're still in this predicament. And I'm going to be honest with you. It gets very tiring trying to figure out this algorithm and this rocket science of being in the hood and being about that life.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, keeping it real. Well, little Ronnie really ain't about that life, but yet nevertheless, he's over here. So he ain't doing this, but he doing that. Like, it gets very irritating trying to do the math on what part of the game that you're actually associated with. Yeah. And I'm not saying that in the sense of passing judgment, because I understand what it's like to be born in a certain geographical area. I understand what it's like to be born in a certain neighborhood. I get all of that. And the only way for you to do better is for things to become better for you. I get it. You got to go to school, get good grades, get a good job, then you can move on. I get it. I came up in Detroit, Michigan from a baby to 18. I didn't leave Detroit, Michigan until I was 18.
Right.
Some people will say, well, you should have moved sooner than that. I was a kid. I couldn't. Like, where was I going to go? So let's not be stupid. Some people have to be where they got to be until life becomes better for them.
Yeah.
However, I like to go back to what you said earlier, because I understand the frustration. We as men, it gets we get frustrated trying to teach young people the right way, trying to put young people up on game on how to get better careers, better jobs, a better education, because it seems they turn around and they stab you in the back, or they make you look like a fool because you put so much trust in them. But you know, they just negate everything that you tried to teach them,
Right.
and they just go another direction. I
Mm-hmm.
understand that gets frustrating.
Right.
However, I will say this, because you said it when you ended your comment. You said we should. You said something to the effect of we shouldn't get frustrated and we still should teach. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. And this is why. If we don't teach, they're going to be the little Ronnies of the world.
Yeah.
If we don't teach, they're going to be those other two young men that gunned down little Ronnie and his baby.
Right.
So when we get frustrated, when we get fatigued, when we get tired and we quit, I'm not saying it's right that those young people ignored the advice we gave them. I'm not saying it's right. But one thing about men, we're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to be resilient. We're supposed to have broad shoulders. We're supposed to be able to carry those burdens. Because if we don't, those young men, they have nobody else to turn to.
Exactly.
I'm going to speak for myself. I'd rather do this. I'd rather keep giving you the advice, keep giving you the information, keep showing you love. And it all go for bad. What am I saying? I would rather just keep giving you the information and you fell on your face than me not giving you the information and watch you fall on your face.
Yes.
I can't give up on you, because the moment I give up on you, North Carolina, Texas, Florida, California, New York, they got something waiting for you.
Man,
and it's called the justice system.
Yep.
They got something waiting for you. So I just believe we can't stop teaching. We can't stop. And I'll say it like this. Yes, teaching starts first in your home.
Mm-hmm.
It does. I get it. Your daughter, your son, I get it. But I'm here to tell you, for Black people, we don't have that luxury just to only teach our own. I'm sorry. We got to become an uncle to somebody who's not even blood related to us. We got to become a community member. We have to be active in our church. We have to be present in the school system, because there's a young Black male somewhere that people gave up on them. And if we give up on them, what chance do they have? So all I'm saying, we got to continue to fight, man.
Man, I love it, man. That was man. We can end it right there, but I want to say this: what Speak Rock said was 100% right. But what I tell you, a lot of young men who I talk to, you also have to be receptive, and you also have to want to learn.
That's good.
And when a older, when a what we call them an OG or whatever comes into your life and wants to give you the time of day, don't you dare take that for granted. Don't you dare. Don't you be silly enough to take that for granted, because he don't have to do that. And a lot of these people out here, they don't give a damn about you. They know you don't know nothing, and they will capitalize on that. They know you don't know nothing, and they will send you out here on a dummy mission. But if you find somebody who really does care about you and wants to teach you what they know, learn from them, bro. Take that and learn from them. Learn from them. So, man, that was this episode of the Raising Carter podcast. I hope you got value from this, because hell, I did. I got value from this, and I think this was another great one. Is there any parting words you want to say to the people out there, Speak Rock, on this subject, or just anything anything you want to say?
No, all I would like to say is that we all can learn a lot from this podcast and learn from your example. Find a way. I would challenge every man, find a way to be able to give back. Find a way to be able to capture the attention of some other young men and share with them what you know. And I believe if they keep following this podcast, they'll find that way.
Absolutely. I love that's a great point. Find a way. And you said it before, just before. Find a way to help. You got to help your children. But if it's possible that you see someone else that you can help them too. Don't be like that, man. Don't be like that. If you got skills in a bill, electrician, plumber, you know about, financial resources and things like that, man. Help. I want to say this last thing. He speak
Go
about
ahead.
said something. You said us as Black people, we do not have the luxury to just think that only you can help your children and that's it. We don't have that luxury. We don't have that luxury. We do not have that luxury. We have to help every young man that wants to be helped. And that's what this podcast is all about. Man, we out of here. Peace.
We out.